Good evening and welcome to this public forum regarding the St. Cloud Area School District 742 referendum that will be held on April 8th. This forum is sponsored by the League of Women Voters of the St. Cloud Area and is being recorded. The recording will be posted on the district website. The League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan political organization. We take no position on this referendum. We sponsor public forums because we believe informed citizens are the foundation of democracy. Thank you for attending tonight's event. I am Sheila Ferguson, and I will be moderating this forum. Before introducing our speakers, I would like to remind everyone to please silence their cell phones and other electronic devices. At the end of the presentation, there will be a question and answer period. As with all of our forums, we take questions in writing from the audience on index cards. If you have not received an index card, or if you need an extra, please raise your hand and one of our volunteers will get one to you. When you wish to submit a question, raise your hand and one of our volunteers will deliver it to the question facilitators at the front of the room. Our speakers this evening are Lori Putnam, Superintendent for the St. Cloud Area School District and Minnesota Superintendent of the Year, and Justin Skellerud, Apollo High School Principal. Superintendent Putnam and Principal Skellerud.
Thank you so much, Sheila, and thank you to the League of Women Voters and our audience members. We are grateful for this opportunity. We couldn't agree more about your stance on informed citizenry. I can't say the word. I'm just going to stop right now. So we are very grateful for this opportunity. We are excited tonight to share about the upcoming Building Brighter Futures referendum. It will take place on April 8th, though you'll hear it multiple times. Early voting is now open, and so we certainly encourage people to vote on or before April 8th, and that happens right here at the school district. We are going to dive in with a video so you can hear directly from those impacted most before we continue on. The things that I love most about the St. Cloud area schools are our students, our families, and our staff.
I think it brings a community sense for us, gives us lots of opportunities for our kids.
I kind of grew up here. I love that in the schools and in the community, we really do care about the future of our students. We want them to be successful wherever life might take them.
Academic excellence is our foundation at St. Cloud area schools. We're committed to providing our students with the excellent infrastructure and opportunities to learn and grow that they deserve and have come to expect.
On April 8th, 2025, St. Cloud Area School District 742 will ask residents to vote on a two-ballot question referendum.
Question 1 asks voters to approve updating Apollo High School to meet modern safety, accessibility, and educational standards, including a secure entrance, storm shelter, and fire safety upgrades. Question 1 would also provide much-needed upgrades to career and technical education spaces to better prepare students for our future workforce. If Question 1 is approved, it will mean that our students and staff have world-class opportunities to advance in a variety of core subjects and career pathways.
I have sinks that I can't renovate because of updates in codes. I have hoods above my stoves that I can't put in because of new regulations related to heating and air conditioning.
We're the only school in our school district that does not have a safe and secure entrance. When our students and staff walk in the door every day, our number one priority is that they are safe while they are receiving their education. And that's why question 1 of our referendum is so important.
School should be a safe place because we need to be able to learn.
Question 1 must pass for question 2 to be approved. Question 2 asks voters to approve an indoor, multi-purpose athletic facility to support year-round student activities and provide our community with access to a full-size turf field and walking track.
If question 2 is approved, it will mean so much for not only Apollo students, but also students at Tech, Cathedral, and our surrounding communities who participate in co-op athletics. If both questions are approved, the estimated tax impact for the average homeowner in the district would be $3.33 per month.
The district has exhausted all other options to pay for these necessary upgrades and has minimized the tax impact through fiscal responsibility and long-term planning.
Our district has always taken a conservative and respectful approach, asking our taxpayers for only what we need when we need it to benefit our students and staff. Strong schools build strong communities, which in turn increase home resale values. We are committed to providing facilities that prepare our students for the challenges of the future.
Make your voice heard and vote on or before Election Day, Tuesday, April 8th.
Get the facts and learn more about the referendum by visiting isd742.org/referendum.
I'll tell you, I had the opportunity to be at Tech for about half of the day today. It was a beautiful, unexpected blessing. I got to serve lunch for 3 lunch periods and have just a moment with so many of our kids, and it was probably the best part of my month, honestly. I was reminded yet again, being there, about the incredible opportunities that our students have, all the way from the number of options that they get at lunch, to how quickly they can move through the lunch line, to the visible learning opportunities right as soon as we walk through the door and in those commons. And while we certainly have strong schools in terms of the staff, the students, the commitment of our community on the north and the south side. The opportunities that are available through the updated facilities at our Tech are just unparalleled. And this community, our students, our staff, we need same or similar opportunities on the north side of town. Since we built Tech, we have seen more and more students asking for an in-district transfer to the south side. We've seen home prices go up. That was just in the Star Tribune. They're about on average $20,000 more for home values on the south side than the north side. And while certainly our schools are not the only factor in that reality, we know that it plays a part. And so we are really excited to bring this opportunity forward so that we can have equally strong facilities for our students and staff on the north side.
All right, thank you, Dr. Putnam. Question 1 highlights, ask voters to approve upgrading Apollo High School to meet modern safety, accessibility, and educational standards to better prepare students for college and careers. Question 1 comes at a price of $50 million, which is $2.41 per month for a $250,000 home. I'll take a couple minutes and highlight what question 1, what issues it would take care of for us at Apollo, and what opportunities it would provide for students at Apollo as well. I'm going to really key in on that picture. And Apollo High School is the only building in the district without a secure entrance. What a secure entrance means, if you go to any other district school building, whether it be Tech High School, as the superintendent mentioned, North Junior High, South Junior High, any of our elementary schools, Kennedy Community School, you're going to walk into that building and you're going to be in a vestibule. You're going to hit a buzzer, and someone within the office is then going to let you into their office space. Over 90% of the visits to a school are going to take place, and they're going to have their needs met within that office and leave, or otherwise they'll be buzzed into the school community if they need to visit a teacher, pick a student up from the nurse's office, and so on. Apollo's structure is just different. It's a 54-year-old building. It has served us well, but when you walk into Apollo, if you walk in door 2, and this is the door where the space capsule is, if you're familiar with the building and have driven by, you come into the vestibule. There's a very nice lady. Her name is Sue, and Sue sits at a desk and she scans your ID. And once you've gone through that process, as you would at any other school, you're then going to enter the building. Once you're in the building, depending on the time of day, to your immediate left is our cafeteria. So you may have 300-400 kids that are eating lunch as you're walking into our building. The office is off to your right, and the learning communities are off. So our guests need to walk into our building and then walk into our office to do their business when they come. And when we talk about safe and secure entrance, that's what we're talking about, is creating that system like all the other district buildings have, with a vestibule that brings you directly into the office. And I'll show you in a few slides of how we're going to rectify that problem with a past question 1. What we've come across in our planning for, this has been past 18 months for this project, but the superintendent will talk about 2015 and 2016 as well, is that when you build something new, and we'd be building a new office on the front of the building with new building codes, and this is just recent within the past couple of years, you need to have a storm shelter on your campus that can have the entire capacity of the building. Every student, every staff member, if we would have adverse weather. So for us, we need to be able to have 1,600 people in one space, and that space has to be able to withstand a 2x4 flying 220 miles per hour to be deemed a storm shelter. For us, we would be building a 4th gym to accomplish that. So if there were be a weather situation, our school community would go into that 4th gym and be safe and be protected with the new code. But the rest of the time, in my time, I've been in our district for 20 years, and one time we practice those drills all the time, all the way through kindergarten to 12th grade, but it happens. It has happened quite recently, actually, just 3 years ago. So when that happens, we'd use it for that, but most of the time it would be used for physical education classes. It would be used for, on the evenings, for our activities to use, for our community members to be able to rent. We're excited that that storm shelter, that would also be a gym, would be lined for pickleball and tennis, so our community members could play and use that space for that purpose year round, and really meet another need that our community has. Another change that would happen would be fire safety upgrades. We have a very long 1-story building. So we need, with new code, is adding some firewalls. So they would be hidden, really garage doors, and when the fire alarm goes off, they would come down and really make the building smaller, parcel it off, so people would safely exit at their nearest door. That is one thing we have. We have 37 doors, so you can get out pretty quickly, and the fire doors would help them be able to do that and guide them the right direction. Those are all code pieces. So you're going to hear the superintendent and I talk about things that we've done, because we've done what we can with the funds that we have. We've done some things over the past few years, and our community has seen that we're attempting to fix some of the things that need to be fixed. But these 3 items, those first 3, if you take all the money that we've spent in putting in some new carpet and updating some areas already, we would not be able to touch how much it costs to build that. New gyms are expensive. New entryways are expensive. So when we talk about safety being the premier focus of this referendum, it's those first 3 bullets. The other things that we would do, and I'm not sure if anyone in here has gone to Apollo or been to Apollo or taught at Apollo, but the science labs and classroom spaces you saw in the video. They're original to the building. So they're 54 years old. There's been some flooring that's changed over, but we brought some retired educators through a couple days ago, and they said, yeah, that looks very similar to it did in the 80s, in the 90s, and now here we are, 2025. So really be able to, and the superintendent alluded to the beautiful facility at Tech, and we're so happy they have that facility, but we want our kids, my child who goes to Apollo, to really have those similar learning opportunities that they do at Tech. Career and technical education, we have great opportunities for our kids that want to go to a 4-year university and beyond, a 2-year university and beyond, but some don't. Some are looking for a job or a trade to get into right away, and we're going to have a talk about some of the opportunities that students can earn certificates on campus and be able to get into very well-paying jobs right after high school with maybe another half year of education. And then improvements to fine arts, performing arts, and physical education, updating our band room, updating our choir room, updating our orchestra room, providing a scene shop for our theater, which we don't have. Just really finishing that area. We've done some renovations with our theater, and it looks amazing, but all the areas around it were not touched with that project, so having an opportunity to fix that. And then additional lunch service lines and expanded menu options. I also have had the honor of serving lunch every now and then when we need to, so the superintendent had that opportunity at Tech today, but we're trying to get 300 to 400 kids through 2 lines as quickly as possible, get them in, get them back to class in 30 minutes. She had that opportunity to see what that looks like with 3 lines, and it does make a difference. And it also provides more options for our students. It just, brightens their day a little bit more. So this is what a renovated main entrance at Apollo would look like. This is that same entrance, that door 2 entrance when you come in. The most important thing to highlight is this office space right here. So this white box with the 6 windows, that would be the new office. So if you were a guest at Apollo and now come, you would walk in these doors. This would be the vestibule like every other school. There would be a clerical at the front desk that would buzz you in, and you would do your business in the office. As I said, 90% of people who come visit, this is where they need to take care of their business during the school day. With building this new office, we would take advantage of some opportunities to bring in a little natural light, because we are a 1-story building and light is at a premium. This main entrance would be 2 stories, just the entrance. There wouldn't be any classes. There is no second story, but having natural light, bringing that into our commons area and into our cafeteria lunchroom. I also mentioned our career and technical education spaces. When you look at this picture, it shows some opportunities. We're actually starting an EMT program at Apollo. In 2 weeks, we'll start our first class in that sequence. It's an emergency medical response program. All the kids that take that will leave with a certificate, and then they're going to be able to move on to the next steps in that sequence. And you can see this fully functional ambulance bay that the students that are in the EMT program will be able to get that, work towards certificate, and either finish when they're in high school or go finish at the technical college and take these talented students that are in our buildings, both Apollo and Tech, and I'll explain where Tech comes in and how we're going to partner with a Past Question 1 and keep them in our community. On the left, that's a CNA lab, so for nursing students to be able to practice that and start working towards certificates. We also have law enforcement classes, Law Enforcement 1 and 2, that are taught in this area. And then right down this hallway, you can't see it, we do have an auto shop. And the students in the auto shop would actually be servicing the ambulances that they're practicing in the ambulance bay. We have 2 ambulances. They've already been donated. We just don't have a home or a classroom for those ambulances yet. And when we talk about CTE updates, that would be part of it. You also saw Brad Mose, who's an amazing culinary teacher, show his space. That space would be renovated to be more of a real-life kitchen experience for our students as well. With a Past Question 1, we are creating an advanced pathway program. So most students, when they get into their sophomore year and register, they're making some pretty important decisions about their education. As a junior, am I going to go to college, either part-time or full-time? Free. We take care of them to do that. Am I going to do something? We have an elementary aid program where I can go back to my elementary school and spend my mornings there and see if I want to be a teacher. With expanding upon that and what Tech already has, Tech's amazing campus, communications is an advanced pathway that they have. They've got a morning show that they run, and that morning show is an award-winning program. So if you want to work towards communications and that's your future, Tech has that pathway. Construction and building trades. Tech has a program called the Tiger Build, where you can take 2 hours of class. It's a block class of 2 hours. We have very kind of specialized ones like that offer that, and build a house and then donate it to Habitat for Humanity. Apollo kids could be in that pathway and go to Tech and be part of the Tiger Build. Environmental sciences, they have a great facility, great campus that allows for that. Beautiful. They have a trout stream that runs through the campus, and if you want to be future DNR, if that's something that your goal is to do, they're going to have a pathway for those juniors and seniors to do that. Health careers, CNA lab, talking about the other things we've mentioned a little bit already, and then robotics, and talking about, we're going to talk about manufacturing industry at Apollo, but how does robotics come into real world and really be able to expand upon that. So Tech has that. With a Past Question 1, the pathways we would be able to offer at Apollo High School is data and computer sciences. We would have to create a classroom that would have the infrastructure with the high-speed internet, the equipment, the ability to do that, and be able to have those computer programming classes, being able to take these talented kids and earn those certificates and get that job experience to be able to go into the real world and do that. And if I'm a Tech student and I want to do that, I would come over to Apollo, and in the afternoons, more than likely, or morning, end of day, beginning of day, we would provide transportation if the student needed to do that and get them to where they needed to be to get on their pathway. Engineering, manufacturing, and mechanics, that's something we already have, and we would just continue to build on that and really clean those spaces up. And when I say that up, by cleaning up, I mean updating machinery, make them industry standard, so our kids are practicing or what they're going to use in the field. Creative and performing arts, I already touched upon that. We have great extracurricular opportunities. I know our performing arts group is right now planning on doing the Addams Family, the musical, and they're just starting that. And Tech always puts on amazing productions, and those happen after school and in the evenings. We want to take some opportunities for students that they want to do that after high school, and how do we make that curricular and provide some opportunities with that. Food science and culinary arts, and opportunities to grow those programs and help kids leave with industry experience and be able to go right into restaurants and kitchens and go to technical college and earn more advanced degrees with that. That would be a pathway at Apollo. And I already touched upon the emergency management response leading into the EMT program that we are incredibly excited about. And our kids are too. Last Wednesday, we had the instructors come and they brought an ambulance, and it parked out by the front of the door, and they brought him into the ambulance and let him see all the equipment. And we got a handful more of students register for the class and hopefully the program just by that experience. So.
These ideas aren't new. The asks that we're making are not new. When originally the questions were brought out in 2015 and 2016, the idea was to really maximize efficiency of facilities and be able to have advanced opportunities for learning at both sides of town. Now, certainly the career pathways have changed since 2015. We've partnered with DEED to really identify what are going to be the top needed careers in this area, because we see that as our responsibility to prepare the citizens and the workforce for the greater St. Cloud community. So those are new, but the idea of sharing facilities is not new, and neither is the ask for updated school facilities. So back in 2015, if you've been in this community a while, you'll remember that we came and said we need a new tech built and a renovated Apollo. The ask was $160 million, and that was turned down by the voters. In 2016, we came back with again asking for a new tech. That would turn into question 1. Question 2 was a renovated Apollo. Fortunately, tech passed at just under $104 million, and unfortunately, Apollo just barely was defeated, and that was just under $40 million. At that point, the superintendent and the board said, we will be back. These are essential needs for this community. And so we have looked every single year, is now the right time? Is now the right time? In 2020, we said now is the right time. We had been working on it through 2019. In 2020, we were getting ready to bring that to the community, and then we all know what happened in 2020. The pandemic derailed not only our lives, but also this referendum. We were coming with a cost of just under $54 million at that point. With instruction, particularly construction inflation costs, in today's dollars, that would be $74 million, right? But in 2025, we're bringing a referendum for $50 million. And that's because we have been very careful stewards of our taxpayer dollars. We really took a look at our plans and we said, is there anything that we can take out that would not impact student learning opportunities? So we scaled down a little bit there. We used the one-time use or lose state and federal dollars, our long-term facilities maintenance dollars, to make every upgrade and improvement that we could. And so now, as you've heard us say, we've exhausted all other options, and we are coming to this community with a $50 million ask for question 1, $2.41 per month. Question 2 we'll talk about in a little bit, but you've heard us talk a lot about tech and about all the amazing opportunities that are available through there. And so some of you haven't gotten to see it in action, so we just want to show you this video.
I'm a firm believer that when students can see the kinds of environments that they're going to be working in one day, it increases engagement and helps them connect with their learning in ways that a traditional classroom wouldn't.
In 2015, we asked the community for a new tech high school. And unfortunately, we were turned down, so asked again in 2016, and that was approved by the voters. We're incredibly grateful for the generosity and commitment of this community to support our students.
Using this space for the past 5 years has excelled our students in many different areas. Some of them are even in the career now. It's just awesome to see these students back in our community working in local companies and creating content that is at a new level, but they learned the early stages of that when they were here.
Because of the space and the resources and equipment that we have at Tech, we're able to get students that hands-on experience, and they're able to leave our building with nursing assisting certification and other certifications.
The learning spaces are really comfortable to study in and just stop by in between classes.
We use that all the time. It helps us get our work done.
I like how the spaces at Tech give me the opportunity to either work in a small group or a large group, and it really just opens the variety in learning.
It's almost close to a college campus.
The thing I like most about Tech is how the resources are so high-tech, but it's a public school, so anybody can access them.
There's really a space for everybody, every field, and anything they are interested in.
We were so blessed by our taxes to build this thing, and it was amazing.
We promised that we would get this project done on time and under budget, and we delivered. We also promised that we would change educational outcomes and opportunities for our students, and that's happening at Tech. It's evident from the moment that we step foot through the doors.
So we've talked a lot about question one. Everything actually we've talked about at this point is question one, highlighting safety and educational needs. When we started this process and as we got towards the end and before we brought it to the board, we really wanted to get community input to see what the thoughts were and where we're at and if we're on the right track. And we had 4 meetings with that group, and with question one, they saw the vision and said you're on the right track, but they said there's a need in St. Cloud that needs to be addressed. And there's limited opportunities for students that play soccer, lacrosse, baseball, softball in the winter. There's many opportunities in the cities, and teams are traveling in the winter months, but would the district consider, and that brought question two. Question one must be passed for question two to be eligible to be approved. And that's the construction of an indoor, ask voters to approve the construction of an indoor multi-purpose athletic facility. This space will provide a community with access to full-size turf field and walking track and will support year-round activities for students throughout the district. And this comes at a price of $15 million or 92 cents per month for a $250,000 home. So question one and two pass, it's $3.33. This is a picture of the multipurpose field. This would be located on the Apollo campus, but it's very important to know this is for all of our students. This is for all of our students in the community. This is for Apollo students. This is for Tech students. This is for Cathedral students. This is a community facility to use and be able to play sports and practice sports. And in here you just see some little ones that are running around kicking soccer balls, but having this a place to go when the winter months don't allow us to be outside. You can play soccer games in here. You can play lacrosse games in here, and you can play softball games in here. The field allows, and the shape allows for that. So this is opportunities when our students, our district students aren't using it, our community partners aren't using it. We actually spoke to Waite Park baseball and softball on Sunday, and they are very, very excited about this opportunity and are actually have endorsed this referendum and have spread that throughout their group because they see a very big use for that. Their facility is very close to our campus, and they definitely see a great partnership availability. But then there's rental opportunities outside of that. And this is going to be a cost-neutral facility, meaning that it will be run with the rental fees that are coming in. And then our goal is to continue to keep those prices down for the renters, but obviously, most importantly, keeping our students available and be able to get in.
One of the things that we're really proud of in this district is our fiscal responsibility. Every year we pass balanced budgets, and that's thanks to our board, it's thanks to our administration, to all of our staff who really understand that, like all of our families and our taxpayers, we have to live within our means. And so every year we pass those balanced budgets. And that's, you've heard us say that we've used state and federal monies, that we've exhausted all of our other options. And we've gotten that tax impact down to as low as we possibly can, which is the $3.33 per month for both question one and question two on that average price home. And even when when both questions pass, you can see that we still will have the lowest school tax impact of any of our neighboring communities. And again, this speaks to our commitment to fiscal responsibility. Currently, our tax impact on an average home is $700 a year, and we do not take lightly this ask. We know that any dollar coming out of our families' pockets matters. And so we've been really thoughtful and careful about what we're asking. And then if question 1 and question 2 pass, it's just under a $40 addition for the year. And even still with that, lower than the 800, just under 800 for Rocori, just under 900 for Sauk Rapids, and over 1,200 for Salutal. And while I'm very glad that their community supported their referenda asks, these do reflect the pre-referendum tax impact. And so we are proud of this number. And so we do ask people to learn more on or before vote day of April 8. Our website has a whole host of resources, including this video. This presentation is recorded should you want to watch it again. We have fast facts, we have FAQs, we have a tax impact calculator so you can put your own address in and find out what it means for you and your family, as well as polling locations. And as we started, we believe in citizenry. I got it that time. We believe in democracy, and so all of our polling locations will be open on April 8 to make sure that there are no barriers for our community to exercise their right to vote. So again, thank you. We're happy to take questions.
Well, since you ended with this, I think I'll start with this question. And maybe you could expand on it a little bit. Where do voters go to vote early in person? And then what polling places are open on April 8th?
Thank you for that question. Early voting is open now, and that is located here at the district office. The address is 1201 South 2nd Street in Waite Park. The voting hours are 7:30 to 4 p.m., 7:30 a.m. to 4 p.m., and you just need your driver's license to know your social security card or to have a piece of mail, and then you can get your ballot here at the district office. Alternatively, April 8, as I said, all of our polling locations will be open, so if you voted in the general election, you would go to that same spot, and if you're not sure, then you would be able to go to our website or to the Secretary of State's website and enter your address to get your polling location information.
Okay. So this was touched on at several points throughout the presentation. However, in a very condensed way. What do you say to people who say, St. Cloud taxes are high right now. How do we afford another tax increase with this referendum?
Yeah, that's a great question, and it's something that's on everyone's mind. And really, the answer to that question is the need for this for the safety of our children and staff that are at Apollo High School. When we get asked, why do you need a secure entrance? Why do you need a safe entrance? What's happening? And I say the answer is simple. It's not what's happening in our building. Our kids are amazing, our staff is amazing, and we're safe when we're inside. But as we know, and so many times when we turn on the news or see what's happening, it's making sure that people aren't able to get into our building that aren't supposed to be in our building, and really just valuing that. And we know it's a sacrifice to do so, but the value of that safety, we hope that sacrifice is understandable.
Okay, thank you. When speaking about inequities between Tech and Apollo, some people have said that at one time, Apollo was the brand new school and Tech students didn't have the same opportunities. And there may be some that feel that now it might be okay that Apollo does not have the same opportunities at this time. What do you say to those voters?
What I would say to the voters is we certainly understand, right, that school facilities can be cyclical. But we also know that this community has a workforce demand and supply issue, right? We know that all of our students coming out of our schools need to be fully prepared for this community's workforce. We've got some employers standing here in our audience, and we know that it is hard to find not only people who are well qualified academically, and our career pathways certainly will do that, but also who are prepared to really, they aren't even soft skills, they're essential skills. Right? Who are prepared to show up on time, who are reliable, who know how to collaborate, to be creative. And as we see more the rise of generative AI, those kinds of human skills like wisdom and empathy, those are going to be even more and more important. And we are teaching those in our schools because we know that those are the things that students coming out of graduating are going to need. And that's what this community needs. So I would say that this community can't afford to not have students who have access to those kinds of learning opportunities because it needs every one of our students.
Okay, well, you guys must have done such a tremendous job with this presentation. We do not have any further questions, so this concludes the question and answer segment of tonight's forum. We do thank those people who submitted questions, and we thank you, Superintendent Putnam and Principal Scullerud, for presenting. Election day for this referendum is April 8th, and early voting is already in progress. Thank you for joining us this evening. Good night. Yeah. Well, we were going to ask you if you had come across any really good questions.